clarification on the blanket. And we did get somewhere. However, I got further inquiries. I got some messages from people in my inbox. Thank you very much, by the way. But I just acted as the liaison between Brandon and the information that was coming from outsources. So first, I want to straighten that up. Now, I'm not accusing anybody, but I'm just putting it out there that how the information got all screwed up is in my mind rather obvious, but it's neither here nor there at this point in time. First of all, there ain't no such thing as psychics, y'all. Okay? So Belinda's getting advice from psychics on where to look. That would tell me that that person is involved in this. There's a reason why they're there in the first place. Don't care that much. It's just another layer of bullshit from that side. So let me just start off by reading you the message that I got. And it's from, I don't know the person. They just send me messages now and then. They seem to have knowledge on the case. And I take it as it comes with a grain of salt because they usually have relevant or poignant corrections or clarifications or things like that. Let me just read it to you. I sent this to Brandon. So after my video, it reads as follows. I got it around 2:30 p.m., which was 2 hours ago. This location, AB, I don't know how these stories get so screwed up. This location in question, where the bundle was found and is owned by Brian Ward, where this gravel has been plowed in here. Apparently, it was going to be filled in to potentially be built on. Anyway, it doesn't matter at this point. So let's go down there. This spot. You remember this spot? So I'll further read. Belinda was not able to go out in the woods to search physically. She's got a bad knee. So was just out driving around the day of November, PBMH search day with her sister. She was told by a psychic who saw 3 piles of dirt that had been recently moved, freshly moved, plowed. Well, which is it? And to look there for the children. When Belinda saw these piles of moved earth, all in piles, all in piles, she asked her sister to stop so she could look around. She saw the bundle lying there like it had just rolled down from the top. The sweater and blue blanket, Brad Wong claimed they were his daughter's sweater and his son's blanket. But the bath mat was not from his burn pile. But the sweater and blanket were from his burn pile. So the bath mat he doesn't recognize, but the sweater and blanket were from his burn pile. The blue bath mat. Okay, the blue bath mat had stains that looked like blood, dirt, or possibly oil. Well, which one is it? Because they're all very distinct from one another. Just bear with me. The blue bath mat had stains that looked like blood, dirt, or possibly oil, but the dark stains all over it and potential spots of blood on the sweater and blanket. I can send those specks, these specks with enlarged photos if needed. I don't know, your terminology is awful, by the way. I don't know about all that story about Brandon. I was told Chrissy Travers picked it up and delivered it to the cops after Belinda told Daleen. Well, Brandon says, so all of that is true, except Chrissy Travers never picked it up, or Daleen. The call came from Chrissy, who at the time was working with Chris Harker. You know, that douchebag from Owen Sound. But between us, and I won't mention that. Those photos you just showed were taken by me. So the photos this person sends back thinking that Belinda or whoever took them were all already taken by Brendan. Those are Brendan's photos. Brendan gave it to Chrissy Travers, who then gave it to Daylene or the like. Those photos you just showed were taken by me. There was a video too. The only ones who have it, had it, was Chrissy Travers and Dee from the Major Crimes Unit. But I'd imagine Chrissy gave it to Daylene and who knows who else. I don't recognize the name of the message though, but they appear to have some knowledge about the details here. And these are the images on your screen. And Brendan goes on and talks about his history with Chrissy and working with her from September through January. And then they ceased communication. So yeah, these photos that are on your screen are all, and the video file are all Brandon's. So this is probably where things all got screwed up, because at the time, Brendan's working with Chrissy's association. She's in Alberta. She's got an association to Daylene, and that's the link with Belinda in that sense. And I'm not really on top of this so much because, like I say, I ignore pretty much everything that comes from that direction. But it seems to me that, maybe people are just giving credit to who was talking about it. But what's interesting about this whole scenario is who would be telling Belinda about where to go look and about what. She just randomly pulled up on it because a psychic told her. I don't buy any of that bullshit, especially the psychic shit. Neither should you. Especially when it comes to finding this piece of evidence. Now, again, I'd like to talk a little bit about my last video. Brad Wong is not to be trusted, anybody. I got all kinds of details and all kinds of information about this asshole in the background. You are an asshole, Brad Wong. Let me make that perfectly clear. I've been asked not to go into too much detail, but some things I can. Eventually we will. But it just, at this particular time, I think I may not say too much about it. But you know how it goes. Probably will. So I got all kinds of more information about the heat between Bradley Wong and the McKenzie clan, the McKenzie family. And you remember way back early in the case where Daniel and Janie were talking about one having, they were shit talking Brad Wong, talking about how he's a thieving son of a bitch. Well, I got a story that would, if it's true, would suggest that, no doubt. Anyway, what I'm gathering from other people outside, people who are not Brandon, I should say, are that he's not to be trusted. This guy you can't trust. So maybe there's a whole gaggle of people up there who have a burr up their butt, but he's got some heat. He's got some drama with his neighbors, we'll call them, and Wayne McKenzie, for one. It appears that Brad Wong had the cops called on him because he's a firewood stealing son of a bitch. That's just a small part of it. So you can't believe a fucking single thing that this Brad Wong says in that regard. Now, it doesn't mean that his observations from May the 1st into May 2nd are to be ignored. I'm not ignoring them. I'm taking them for what it is. Words in his statement at the time. We'll take it from there. Don't exactly need that. We don't exactly need that, to rest our case on in that sense. So just to summarize up, the mix up is how the information got out to the public. So it sounds like Daleen and Belinda and Chrissy Travers went public for this and wanted to associate this find with their PBMA search and this whole feel good movement. First of all, it's Brendan's pictures. Brendan gave them to Chrissy Travers. And really, it sounds like Brendan got involved with Chrissy because at the time, should I say that? Let's say at the time, a certain group of individuals didn't have a problem with it. They didn't have a problem with it. It wasn't like she was recommended. It's like, yeah, we don't see any problem with that. Go ahead. So since then, she's violated that trust. That's really all there is to say about it. They all have. Now, how much of it is true, I don't know. It's not like I'm plugging it in my mind and making judgment upon it. It's just more information to the story. So let's not forget he's become BFFs with Shannon Hoyt and the other sister, old long neck Cheryl. And stupid teabagger has been exposed for being associated with Cheryl back in 2023 through that fraudulent GoFundMe at that point in time. So there's bad blood between Wayne McKenzie and Brad. If Wayne's telling the truth, then Brad, he's called the cops on Brad for coming on his property and taking his firewood. Again, that's if Wayne's telling the truth. He also made a few threats towards Brad and also Daniel. Oh, Christ, I've got another good story for you. About, better make sure I can say that. Another good story for you about Wayne, and he's got a daughter as well at a gas station. So just as a side note, this whole crew, I'm assuming at the time, just for the sake of this conversation, that Brad's not involved in any of this, right? I'm just making that assumption or presumption. But he's got heat with all of the McKenzie folks, and there's already bad blood between them. And he is actually telling the truth that, you know, the sweater and bathmat, or the sweater and whatever else, came from his burn pile. It just shows you that people were up there trying to incorporate him into all of this somehow. Go up there into his garbage and pull something out of it. We better hope there's something in there. It's just such a bizarre scenario. Don't let it stump you. It's just, you know, somebody's up to something around there. All right. What it is, we'll find out in time. But when we find out the truth, we'll realize how effing stupid it is in the first place. The whole thing and this whole behavior is deemed to hide the truth. They're covering up whatever happened to Jack and Lilly Sullivan. So many accessories to this, isn't there? Brad says he's going to go back tonight and re-listen to this conversation with Wayne that he had. So finally, we haven't talked too much about Ron. Ron's, I believe, Logan's dad. Correct me if I'm wrong. We haven't talked about Harvey very much either. I might postpone telling you that story. Harvey McKenzie up here has neighbors. And on May 2nd, there's a bit of an issue. But it's uncertain what it is, so I'm going to hold back on the details of the story. Harvey McKenzie's neighbors had a story when Brandon was going, was driving around May 2nd. The same sort of thing. They asked him if he was police officers and ended up telling him this particular story. And it was a story about Harvey, not about anything necessarily negative about him. It was a conversation about something that Harvey had seen and mentioned. Brendan ended up taking them to the location, I believe up in that particular lake near Daniel and Janie's house, to tell the officers. Now, there's questions right now. I would say that's a pretty serious piece of information. The MCU has it, I believe, but Brendan's questioning whether or not it was taken seriously. So, on top of it all, there is a rift, RIFT, not a raft, a rift. Cheryl, the raft of Cheryl. There's a rift in the family, in the McKenzie family. Geez, I wonder what that could possibly be about. Apparently, there's a rift between members of the McKenzie brothers and Janie. On one side, there's Wayne. I don't know the rest of it right now. Hold on. Here's an updated photo, 2 photos of the area that we're talking about, the one that Brian Ward owns, the little gravel pit where Belinda came across these. These are updated images as of July 21st. The image on your screen is Earl Martell's property. That's one beautiful looking mailbox you got there. 91, what does that say, 1130? Oh, well. So up the hill we go, and wouldn't you know, on the top of it, old Earl's got a front end loader. Well, he's got a bulldozer. Looks like a lot of fun to ride around on. All kinds of things that you could do with that. You could level off a lot of ground. You could put in a lot of pools there, Janie. An updated image of Earl Martell's property as of yesterday. So along Montreal Road, that extends up to St. Andrew's Church down to Lansdowne Road in the south, there are all kinds of places abandoned, old trailers that have left to rot, old houses that have been abandoned. And it's relevant because, according to Daniel, not that it's true, that Malaya and him were up looking at abandoned houses on Montreal Road when they got stuck. This is one of them. Well, this is an entrance to one of them, I believe. Oh, it's an old trailer. Looks like for a tractor trailer. That looks like the trailer right across from Brian Ward's house. It's an abandoned house. Some tiger lilies out front. Nice. Another abandoned house. Abandoned trailer. What the hell happened to that door? Maybe it was left open in a windstorm. Front of that same trailer. Or maybe somebody's living in that right now. Looks like an old church or an old schoolhouse. Like I say, this is all on this particular road right here. From Montreal Road, from Lansdowne Road, all up in here. So, we're still not clear about who would have been the friend that Daniel used to get him unstuck that night. Is it old Brian Ward? Or is it Darren and Jordan Geddes? Oh, I missed that. So those images that we were just looking at with the trees and just the shrubbery are the shrubs in which Brendan found the pink t-shirts. But there's more than one site. So those vegetation shots that we just looked at were the areas in which he found his found evidence in that sense. Now, I noticed a comment under one of my last videos saying that that's not Brian Ward's house. Brian Ward lives in Westville. No, that's Brian Ward's house. Ward's Towing is not too far away in Westville from Jordan Geddes' mom's house. It's right down in here. Yep, that would be it. Old Ward's Towing. Got a flatbed there. Come and pull up your Dodge Journey on your flatbed. Now, this is August 2025. It's got everything hanging out. The hell kind of car is that? That kind of looks like a Dodge Journey. Not sure what that is, actually. So it looks like he comes around and putters around here between his routes. A couple updated images from Ward's Towing as of yesterday. Looks like somebody in there's got a brand new Ford pickup. Business is looking up. That's a Honda Civic in the background, it looks like. Now, would that be the burgundy one that was seen? I'm pretty sure that was traded in by Cindy. Maybe she traded it in here at Brian's. I don't think so. It was another dealer. But those are updated photos of the outside. A couple more photos of Ward's Towing and Recovery as of yesterday. He's got a trailer out front. They just love working on these nasty-ass trailers. His mobile CP studio. Oh boy, oh boy. That, my friend, is Ward's Towing and where it is. This is Brian's house. Oh, by the way, shenanigans, Marigamish. Please call the Children's Aid local to Marigamish, Nova Scotia to report Shannon Ramsey Hoyt for enabling, lying on behalf, running cons behind the scenes in a situation that involves child SX exploitation, red rum, That woman is an unfit mother. So is Cheryl, for that matter. Get at me in my inbox with Cheryl's information, address, and everything. So Eagle Feather is the name. I took a screenshot. Brian Ward lives in Westville, not anywhere in the country. He owns land out there, but does not live there. I responded, what's his address then? So how do we know Brian lives out there again? Brandon says, well, for myself, not only did Wayne McKenzie tell me that's where Brian lives, but I've seen him, his 2 kids and wife there with Dylan and his partner. When we went out and during the search, it was one of the areas marked off on multiple maps in the area as Brian and Cindy Ward. And yes, they own a fair amount of land, but as far as I've always known, they live there at that point, at that place. Unless, of course, maybe they separated. Maybe all the allegations and craziness caused a split. And maybe while this person may not necessarily be lying, they appear to be trying to distance him from some of the scrutiny, in my opinion. Great observation. So briefly, again, this is one of the images where he found the second pick shirt, I think, with baseballs. Right across from the diaper dump. Have you seen that image yet? Let me see if I can't find that. Now here's an image that Mike was given of the diaper dump right across from where we just last saw. How many diapers do you figure is in there? 200 plus? They'll be right full now. Holy mackerel. That's so nasty. So lazy. Geez, I wonder whose... Those could be Daniel. Of course, Wade's reference to them having to take 200 bags of dirty diapers out from Malaya and Cody's basement before she moved into Patty's and eventually out to Garlock Road always lingered in my mind. I couldn't figure out why they were storing dirty diapers. I'm going to be honest with you. It never occurred to me that they were just going to probably go and dump them all out on the side of the road anyway. So they weren't, they could still throw and have a full, garbage day without it all being taken up by dirty diapers and maybe there's a weight. I'd have to look it up. I don't know what their deal is. Some places have, you're only allowed a certain amount of liters of garbage. It's BS. It's always BS everywhere. But fret not. If you wanted to get rid of them, you would just have to take them to the dump yourself and pay a fee. This individual didn't want to pay a fee. Thought he's better than the law. He's smarter. Rules don't apply to him. I'm just going to take him out here into the middle of Mother Nature and toss him. Not even burn the hell out of them. They don't burn very well either. What could you do with them? Nothing. But it's just such a disgrace. Guess you could always go cloth diapers. That would be an alternative or option. Oh, you don't think Malaya and Daniel are a cloth diaper type of family? Well, for me personally, I don't think I'd know how to wrap them up properly. By the time I learned how to do a dirty diaper, the kid would be out of the diaper. Let's go get pull-ups. They're just so much easier. We pay for convenience, friends. So this is, I'm assuming, is the area in which he found the pink t-shirt. Pink t-shirt in the tree. It's almost like they stopped and ran over and tossed it in the tree. Like, it would be... It's not like you're throwing it from the road. It's not that random. It's almost like it's placed there. That would be the trail leading down to it, maybe. I think that what that is, let me switch over. Could be just a shot of this road going up in there. I'm not sure what area it is. The end of its large cemetery. Yeah, I guess it is a side road. It goes across the pipeline. That, of course, is just north of old Danny. Well, not my diapers. I'm too zoomed in on this. Hold on. There we go. This is better. We're just down in here, I believe. The second pink t-shirt. And of course, we're working ourselves up to St. Andrew's Church, the spot with the purple bloody underwear, black sock, white sock, and the small girl's matching headband. But we're going to pick it up on that. We've got the next one. We've got the next one because we've got some video files to share. 31 minutes. Thank you very much for sticking it out, friends. See you in the next one.